You have found the Open Eclectic Podcast, where Nate and Josh talk about everything from mobile games to books to pet peeves to cars to toys. Our interests run eclectic and we're open to more. Welcome to the Open Eclectic.
Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi. I didn't see you there. What's your name?
Oh, hi. My name is Josh.
Say hi to your mother for me.
All right.
All right. So, hi. Well, hello. Yes, we're the Open Eclectic. I'm Nate.
And I'm Josh.
It's been a while since we recorded last. We did just drop our first episode last week, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I checked, we have one download.
Yes. It all starts right there, though.
It does.
With the first...
It's the first step.
Yeah.
It's the first step.
Absolutely.
So it's the first of many. I don't know, is there any housekeeping items anything we should discuss before we dive into our this episode here?
I'm hoping by the time this episode comes out, our MySpace page will be up and running. At the moment, I'm experiencing technical difficulty with it, so if you visit myspace.com/openeclectic, you won't find us just yet.
But you did create an account, right?
I'm working on it.
That's awesome. I'm glad you are. I didn't even realize that MySpace was still around. I mean, I guess I knew it was around. So my boss at my other job, my part-time job. This is my.
It pays the bills.
Yeah, the one that pays the bills. He used to be into pretty deep in the music scene, and he appreciated MySpace because I guess when Tom sold it or whatever, they got more music focused, I think, or something.
Tom the Traitor?
Hey, Tom got out with his soul intact.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not having to go in front of Congress and have uncomfortable interviews like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
He just got his cash, and now he just does whatever.
Does what? I mean, I don't know. Whatever the independently wealthy do.
Tom,
good for you, man.
Yeah, Tom, and everybody loves Tom because Tom was always your first friend.
Yeah.
Every single person who made an account, Tom was your first friend. And
I think I left him in my top 7 or whatever.
Was it top 8, I think is what it was. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, MySpace existed before Facebook. For those of you who don't know what Facebook is, ask your parents.
Yeah, it's big with the rents now.
Yeah.
Before Instagram.
Yeah, and
before Twitter.
And you could rank your friends and have a top 7 or 8 or so, and people were like, it was a valid threat to be like, I'm going to drop you from my top friends list. And they're like, no, man.
No, please don't do that. Oh my God. That was like a golden age of social media. Before it really all got started, it was because it was such a good time.
You could run a blog through your MySpace. You could embed surveys into it, so when people came to your MySpace, they could find out which Batman villain they were or which Lord of the Rings character.
It had some really annoying, it could be annoying, HTML, dressing up your page and have you could have glittery diamond waterfalls cascading down the page, and your mouse pointer would be a different shape other than a regular pointer. And what I liked the most was that you would embed music videos on your page. Yeah. So I would always be like, what's the next music video I could embed I could put on my MySpace page that people will see? And yeah, so I wrote some blog entries on there, had my music videos. I think some people even made money, I think,
I'm sure
designing people's pages for them.
Well, it's funny. Do you feel gypped that I didn't pay you to manage mine? Because for a long time...
Did I manage yours?
You were my MySpace page manager. Because I wasn't going to get a MySpace. I was like, I don't know that I care. And you're like, Josh, you got to do it. I was like, all right. I was like, all right, Nate, make me one. And you went,
I don't even remember that.
And so you made it, and you were like, hey, I put in some of this cool stuff that I know you like. Take a look at it. And I'd look at it and be like, yeah, buddy, that was a really good job. I like it. And hey, then sometimes I'd be like, hey, Nate, I want you to change this for me and this. And you'd be like, yeah, sure.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was great.
So I made the account for you?
Yeah.
So that means that I could log into your page, and I was just all like...
Yeah. Nate was my admin.
Wow. You know, today that like it makes me shudder thinking that I had access to someone's, you know, social media page.
Well, it was a different time.
That security focus was not quite there back in 2005.
I don't think I put anything real personal on my MySpace though either.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, back in the day, if someone had access to your MySpace page, like logging in, like who cares? Like what are they gonna do?
Right.
I'm gonna add random people and I'm gonna send some messages and you know, whereas now it's like, oh my god, they're on my Facebook page, my life is ruined. Oh my god, I have everything plugged into Facebook. I log into my bank with my Facebook account. Oh no.
Right. Or you get that, you know, you've been hacked, man. Oh, fix it. Take care of it right now. I'm so scared for you. Are you okay?
Hey Josh, I got like six weird friend requests from people saying they're you, but they're not you. So you might want to change your Facebook password.
Yeah, that was a whole thing. Anyway,
so long story short, we will have a MySpace page.
Part of me hopes that is like the hot place.
I know that you're doing this as a joke, but you're right. That would be funny.
It would be hilarious.
That'd be awesome if that was like our main contact. What if we bring MySpace back from the ashes and we are the driving force for MySpace usurping Facebook and like MySpace buys out Facebook?
Wouldn't that be amazing? That'd be amazing. I legitimately think that somebody should attempt to do like a Renaissance MySpace site where you could go back and add all that weird stuff and, you know, fiddle with the code and have your like your top whatever friend list, some of that stuff, because honestly it was a fun time. You felt, after I learned how to do some of that stuff, you felt like, I don't know, you kind of felt smart maybe. You kind of had that like cheesy moment where you like you found something you thought was clever to do with your page, and you just had this moment where you turned to the fourth wall and were like, hacker man.
Exactly.
And you'd message your friends like, oh guys, look at this really cool thing I did on my MySpace. You gotta check out how I don't know what. And then they'd be like, oh, that is really cool. How did you do that? Oh my god,
that's so cool.
It encouraged knowledge sharing, I think.
Yeah, it was like all these people learning like this, you know, HTML editing and stuff, and I'm sure there was plenty of people who maybe that kindled some interest in web design, you know. Probably. And now they're making six figures designing web pages and all that. Yeah, it was because it was fun. It was a good time. I don't really remember what the end of MySpace was for me. I think it was just kind of like, you know, Facebook came out, and you know, MySpace had been out for a few years, and then Facebook comes out, and they're like, oh, it's only for college students, so you have to have an .edu email address.
Was that how it started?
Mm-hmm.
I did not remember that at all.
I haven't seen the Social Network film, but I do remember back in the day where I was able to register with my college email address. And like, so Facebook came out, and then we're on that, and then it was kind of like, this is kind of like MySpace, only a little different. Yeah. And then it was just kind of like, oh, I can play games on Facebook, play the Oregon Trail. Yeah,
I don't like that. I know some people do, and that's fine. Whatever floats your boat, you know. But I never cared for that. I want to see what some of my friends are up to.
I mean, I used to play the games like back in the heyday, the early day, I guess, of Facebook, but not anymore. They have games, but they're all those like, it's garbage. From what I know, it's garbage.
I think the main reason I keep my Facebook now is for the Facebook memories. Because sometimes I like to go back and see what I said 10 years ago, or I was reminded that I moved 11 years ago, and that kind of stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that is how long I've been living in this place, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I noticed that you do post the memories. You know, like 6 years ago, Josh said this. It's like, oh, cool.
So a more recent one that I posted, and I said what I said, and I stand by it, and I will, every time it comes up as a Facebook memory, I will share it. And that is, I think The Office is a terrible show and should have been canceled after the first 3 episodes. And specifically the American Office, I have not seen the UK one. So Ricky Gervais, I know you're listening. This isn't about you, bud.
Ricky, I know you're really active on Twitter. Please be gentle to us. We're not very active on there anyway. Mostly if we just post, something on Instagram. Tell me why you don't like The Office. Because my feelings are not the same as yours, but they are some of my thoughts are similar to yours.
So if somebody posts like a gag from the show onto Instagram or Twitter or wherever, and I'm on there, I will watch it.
TikTok.
Tickety-tock.
Josh is on TikTok.
Yeah, I downloaded that clock app and my life is not the same. Yeah, I will watch it because I do think that a lot of the stuff of those gags is absolutely brilliant. My two favorites is when Jim adds a nickel inside of Dwight's phone every day for a month and then takes them all out so that when he comes in first thing in the morning to answer his phone, he slams himself in the face with it. That is genius. And if I had seen that when I was working in a cube farm still, I would have stolen that and tried it. There's definitely people I would have attempted to do that too. And then my other favorite is when the guy pretends to be Jim, and it's the Asian guy. Can't remember what the actor's name is. Randall something. He's an Ant-Man and the Wasp, and anyway, he's an Asian actor, and so he sits down and he starts typing on the computer, and Dwight's like, "Who are you? You can't have access. You don't have access to that. You're not Jim. Who are you?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You're not Jim." And he's like, "Yes, I am." And then he shows him a picture, and it's like him and Pam and the kid, and he enters the password, and Pam comes over and kisses him, and he's like, "No, Jim isn't Asian." He was like, "You've never noticed before, Dwight? Kudos to you for not seeing race."
That is awesome. That is such a elaborate prank.
Right? It's just so good. And they're like, "Oh yeah, he's an actor friend of ours, and we paid him to act as Jim for the day." And I was like, that might be the best, I don't know what, 5 minutes of a show I've ever seen. But
is that all it is? And they're like, "Oh yeah, is it an entire episode?"
I've never seen the whole episode.
Oh yes, because you hate The Office. That's right.
So I got started. So I kept seeing these clips and memes and stuff from The Office, and I was like, "This is hilarious. I'm gonna watch it." And so I did. I hunkered down. Here we go, episode 1.
Episode 1.
The theme song played.
Herbs.
Yeah, I was gonna hum it, and then I realized I don't know that I can. You know what it is. You can hear it in your mind right now.
Yes, I hear it right now, and I see the.
Quite get it out. Yeah, and I started watching it, and I was like, "This show makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel like I need to
take a natural woman."
HR. Yeah, it does not make me feel like a natural woman. I would prefer that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely has that. It's built on that awkward, that just cringy, awkward humor, and I agree with you on that. It makes me a lot of the episodes, or a lot of the, there's so many moments throughout an episode or whatever that make you uncomfortable, and that's what they're going for. And yeah, I think on the whole, and that's probably a reason why I didn't watch the entire series. I watched the first, I don't know how many seasons they had. I watched maybe 3 or 4 seasons of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much of that cringe in there, and I'm just like,
it sets my teeth on edge, and it's not a feeling I like, so I don't watch it. And so now I'll still watch. You post your favorite clip or whatever. I'll watch that. I'll watch the pranks and some of the gags and stuff. And then there came a point too. I can't remember how much I've seen consecutively, because I saw episodes here and there, and then I went through and I watched the first season or 2 maybe. So for anybody who's not seen it consecutively, I guess slight spoiler warning. Phyllis gets married, and her wedding, I can't make it through that episode. It makes me just want to throw up and then hunt down Michael Scott and punch him in the face.
I am right there with you, because that's not the type of humor that I enjoy. I guess there must be tons of people that like it, because everyone's like, "Oh my god, The Office is my favorite show."
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just not for me. It's like those hidden camera prank shows. I freaking hate those shows.
I would take those over The Office, honestly.
But it's kind of the same kind of thing, like that kind of cringy, like awkward stuff. Because then you got these people that are like, these actors that are in on it, and they're playing along, and people are getting like frustrated, and like people are like they're like sad or they're upset or something, and you're just like, oh god,
it feels mean. It feels mean to me. I think that's why I don't like it too. It feels really, really cruel in a lot of ways, like those hidden camera shows, and then The Office. The way that they do those hidden camera shows now just feels mean. And trying to make people look stupid, as opposed to, like, wouldn't it be funny if kind of a thing. It's like, how can we make people look stupid?
Yeah, and it's like, and those are only the ones where the people probably, they signed the, they agreed after the filming was done, and they're like, oh, surprise, you're on candid camera, and then they're like, they signed the waiver or the release. They're like, yes, you can. I mean, I guess is that how it works?
I'm not sure.
Like, they film it without them knowing, and then they're like, yeah, this was for afterwards, after they go through this whole emotional roller coaster. And then afterwards, they're like, yeah, so this was for this TV show, blah, 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 if you, agree to blah, 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 Are there, like...
There's got to be waivers.
I don't know how that works. Maybe, I should research that. But what about the people that you don't see? Like, what if there have been all these, like, terrible, like, confrontations and incidents that you don't see because, well, one, it would be bad for the show, but it'd just be.
There was a guy who got sued for doing one of those like jump scare type hidden camera things, and he got sued because he decided to jump scare an older couple as they were getting out of their car, and what he didn't know, the guy had just gotten out of the hospital due to like a heart condition, and he threw the guy into cardiac arrest.
Did he die?
I don't remember if the guy died or like what the outcome was, but it was like, you start. I feel like it's a rabbit hole where you start chasing that next scare or that next thing, and you end up doing something like that. I mean, not everybody does. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of reasonable and safe whatever that do that sort of thing. And speaking of TikTok, there's couples who will do that to each other. There's like one guy who, like, him and his wife constantly are trying to use these like streamer tube things, like where you pull it. It's like those little 4th of July popper things where you pull the little thing for the champagne bottle and it pops. Only like the big one. And it's them going back and forth trying to like get the best one. Like, that's fine. I think that's funny. That's like a funny, to me, couples thing that who knows how that started, but here they are now.
Right.
It's like they've agreed to it.
So they know it could happen at any moment, and they expect it.
Yeah.
But they want to get them when they don't expect it.
Right. Makes it all the more tricky. But the jump scare video guys, like, I don't like this. They feel mean, and The Office kind of runs in that same spirit to me. And even a lot of the pranks, like, some of those pranks are mean. Like the nickel one, like, that's hilarious on a show, and I would be, like I said, I'd be really tempted to run that on somebody. Especially certain people. We won't say who, but Nate, you know them.
I bet I do.
People we worked with in the past.
Yes. Now, would you be disciplined for that? I'm sure I don't remember most of the pranks that Jim pulled. I know that the character Jim is a master prankster. That, like, well, he put, like, wasn't there always this ratcheting up of the stakes or whatever, like putting various office tools, equipment in Jell-O?
Yeah. It was like the first episode, I want to say, and he's like, he put my stapler in Jell-O again. And like, I don't know, I think there's a degree of office prankery that is kind of funny. I worked with a guy who was very, I don't know, butch. That's a fair way to describe it. But he just...
A manly man?
A manly man. He had a certain personality.
Light steak.
Name, but he was literally named after an alcohol. And so were his siblings. So, like, that's like the background. And so we decided that for his birthday...
Wait, hold on. Is that manly or is that...
I don't
trashy?
Know. Yes.
Being named after booze?
That's just kind of like fed right into his personality.
Okay, sorry, continue.
That's where I was going. It just
said birthday? Or was that where
yeah, for his birthday, we decided to throw him a princess birthday. And so we put up like princess streamers and all this stuff and got him a tiara. And just because we also knew that we could, and he wasn't going to care either. So he just was like, this is great. I feel like the prettiest girl today. And he put on the tiara and he wore it the whole day, and it was great.
See, that's a cool prank. That's a fine prank. I mean, it's not even a prank. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's harmless. It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you know the victim, he's not a victim in this case, but the victim he'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's not something where you're like, oh, he could get really pissed off if we do this. Maybe we shouldn't. Nah, let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Or like, so it was in an office setting, and I heard our team leads discussing like office pranks that they had experienced. And so one of them says to the other one, hey, if you have someone in the office who doesn't type super well, what you do is you switch their M and N key on their keyboard. And they're like, it'll just drive them nuts and see how long it takes them to figure it out. And they're like, oh, that's so funny. Well, then the other team lead starts freaking out and was like, I've been mistyping M and N all day. I cannot believe you did that to me. And so she pried up the keys on her keyboard and swapped them. Nobody touched her keyboard. And then she couldn't type for the rest of the day. And she thought it was just psychology that she couldn't get over that story. And so she kept subconsciously typing the wrong thing. But in fact, we were talking about a prank, and it affected her so deeply that she insisted that we did it to her when nobody had.
Her keyboard was fine.
Her keyboard was fine.
She changed
it. She did it to herself.
Oh my goodness.
And that's like...
I think I know who you're talking about.
The best accidental prank, I think, ever. But like, it was... Nobody did anything. We were having just a conversation about stuff that we'd heard or done or whatever.
And then she's just like...
She was like, oh, you did this to me, didn't you?
No.
But, that's... And even like the Jell-O thing, like, that's not the worst. It is kind of weird. I definitely feel like I almost want to go through and watch The Office again. Start from ground zero and like keep track of all the things that you would get fired for.
Yeah. I was going to say, you could like force yourself to watch it for the show here, for the Open Eclectic.
Sure.
Research.
I could try.
Science.
I don't know, man.
At first I thought you were going to say write down all the times where it was like, it was too cringy for you. But then that would pretty much be like the entire episode, probably.
Yeah. Michael opens his mouth, too cringy.
Yeah. It's just like, oh no, one-on-one interview with Michael. Cringe.
And I like Steve Carell. Like, that's the thing.
Well, he played the character so well. He's really such a good actor that he succeeded. And I think the thing that people like so much about it is like, despite the cringe and like just the stupidity of Steve Carell, of Michael Scott, like, he was really had a good heart. And I think I think that people really like, it was his redeeming quality, and that's what people loved about him. And because he was like, for as stupid and misguided and whatever that he was, I guess he really cared about his employees.
It's true. He wanted to be liked, and he wanted to be effective, but he didn't understand how to do either.
He didn't really understand how to do much.
Yeah.
And whatever he did, he went about it the wrong way.
Yeah, but can you imagine in today's culture of 2021, there's an episode where he says something about gay, and to apologize, he kisses somebody
Oscar.
in the office. Yeah, Oscar, who's gay.
Yeah, because he's the only gay character in the show, or in the office, I guess.
So everything is like a heightened sense of like ridiculous in the show. Right, the pranks are hyper elaborate. I think he would definitely get fired for them. Or like Michael's ineffectiveness is just ratcheted up. The one thing they don't...
All the offensive things that he says, even like, 10, 11, whenever the show started, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Stuff he was saying was offensive then.
Yeah,
so it's
it
like,
was.
What he says now.
But like,
and now, if he were to be in a workplace and were to say that stuff, it'd just be like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But like the one thing they don't try and over portray or whatever is Oscar's character. He's just a dude who's gay, who comes into work and he does his job. He's one of the few competent people, so to speak, on the show.
Yeah.
And it's like they so easily could have fallen into the trap of giving him like a caricature to play.
Made him like really flamboyant. Yeah,
Right.
a caricature, yeah. The flamboyant gay guy.
And it's like the only part of the show, other than Toby, which I find hilarious because everybody hates on Toby, but he's like one of the only normal ones in the office.
Well, yeah, and like Michael
do that.
has like Toby is like his mortal enemy for some reason.
Well, it's because Toby wants them to behave professionally.
Yeah.
And Michael wants to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, it's like most of the people in that office are, I guess, I don't know about most, but because there's like, what's her name? The alcoholic. I mean, maybe I'm sure there's plenty of office alcoholics out there. You know, the one that like eats hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Squirts it in her hand and then just like... Janice? No, it's not Janice.
Is it? I can't remember their names.
No, Janice is Michael's one of his first love interest. Like one of his first like serious girlfriend.
But that was like his boss or something?
Yeah. See, listeners, this is I'm demonstrating my ignorance. It's been a while and I haven't. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I just
Judith maybe
makes me so uncomfortable. And on the one hand, like when they focus on like the humanity of some people, it seemed like they did some of it really well. Like I really felt for Jim when he was like definitely in love with Pam, but she was with another guy, and so he didn't want to be like that guy.
Oh,
like,
that jerk in the warehouse.
Yeah. And then he gets good advice from Michael. And there's this point where you're like, oh, okay, so maybe there'll be like these moments where all of a sudden Michael is this like wise guy, and he knows some stuff. He just doesn't know how to get it out or whatever. And it's like, no, that was it. For the first season, it was like, nope, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jim and Pam thing, that was, all the shippers, people that are like, oh my God, I want them to be together. And then they got together.
Right.
And then Dwight and what's her face?
So there is I should give Michael a little more credit though. One other thing that he did, like when Pam tried to do that art exhibit, and they go and everybody's like, crapping on her stuff, and Michael's like, no, actually, I think this is, I love it. I think this is brilliant, and I can't even believe how talented you are. And then he buys like the sketch that she did of their office building or whatever, and it's in his office through the rest of the show. I was like, that's all right. He's got some redeeming qualities. He just doesn't know how to get them out. But then nothing else after that I've seen.
Meredith was the drinker.
Yes.
And Angela is the one that's Dwight and Angela. And Phyllis, of course, Toby.
Creed.
Yeah, Creed,
who I like, because I feel like some of these characters, I think the reason the show's relatable too is you can kind of pigeonhole people and be like, oh yeah, I've worked with that guy.
And I'm sure that's where a lot of the writing, where the inspiration for the characters, characters came from, I'm sure. The firing, yes. I think that would be an interesting thing, but I'm sure like every episode, like any prank that Jim pulls would probably be like, oh yeah, you'd probably get fired for that. Or you'd get a strong warning after this prank, and then he does his next one, and like, oh, he's fired.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Yeah, like the phone thing, like destruction of office property, and like...
Right. I don't know
how they would be like, well, he hits himself in the face.
Yeah, technically. I don't know how that would legally fall. Would that count as assault in some way? I feel like it could.
I don't know.
I feel like I think it really pushes the boundaries of some of that stuff.
But I mean, it's TV. I mean, it's going to be over the top, a little bit.
And that's fine. You
got to make it interesting, because if someone made a show that was purely just, actually the Cube Farm, they'd probably just be like, hopefully not.
I kind of think that they did that. I mean, you've seen Office Space. I felt like that was an amazingly accurate portrayal of office life. It heightened some of the stuff a little bit, but
right,
it felt really spot on to me without sinking into that cringe factor.
Right. Like Milton. We know.
Oh man.
We at our place where we worked together in a cube farm, there was a person who was basically it was Milton.
Yeah.
He did not spoiler, he did not burn the building down.
I was a little disappointed by that, but also relieved. Because there's always that chance that you're going to be in the building when it's on fire. And it's not on my bucket list to experience.
That's why they do fire drills?
Yeah. After working in a cube farm, both having micro cubes where it was like 3 feet of desk space by a foot. And it was
that was terrible.
It was terrible, but not...
Well, I mean, it was like... It was terrible, but it was also like... So when we moved to that... We moved at this place, we moved from a spot where everyone had a really nice, like a full-size cube with like... like we had like what half like walls and then glass or above that or
ones? Yeah. So I want to say our cubes were
we had two side like
corner,
two full size
6 feet long. I want to say I could lay down corner to corner. I'm a little over 6 foot. So these were spacious cubes. Yeah, and then the wall definitely was like chest high.
Right. There wasn't any glass on it. It was just the partition.
Just the suits.
So then we moved to the micro cubes, which was like...
Yeah, which is what I started in as a temp there.
But yeah, those were like, you only had like one surface, and it was like half the size of one of the sides from that old place. Yeah. But I will say, so when we moved over there, I actually sat next to, it was our team lead. So not the supervisor, but the one underneath the supervisor.
Yeah.
So I sat next to a team lead who, in the previous location, I had a pretty contentious or like bad relationship with this person. And when we moved into this new place, I was actually sat right next to this person, and I was like, crap, I don't want to sit next to this person. But actually, we were buddies. Like we moved over there, and we had fun and got along really well. I think she even. It was a she. I think she even wrote me like a recommendation, or I used her as a reference for like when I applied for a promotion, basically, or moving to a different area. So I mean, it sucked because you had less desk space and you'd have as much like wall space to like pin in this job, pin all your call center guide garbage
scripts,
on the wall and
things you have to recommend and say.
Blah 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 blah. But it was also you're like, we were, you got to be, you were closer to somebody, sitting next to somebody, so you could get to know them a little better, I guess.
Yeah, and I found that most of the people that we worked with, like, I was happy to sit next to them. I don't think there was anybody on our team at the time that I was groaning because I was sitting next to them. But you can definitely see how if you were going to caricature those personalities, they would fit right in the office. And,
right.
Yeah. After working there too, I discovered that I kind of enjoy the cube culture a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you can, if you're careful about how you build your corporate culture, having cubes can be a huge time saver and make your team super efficient. Like by comparison, the company that I work for, which I think will remain nameless, we used to do a lot of production stuff, and we moved to outsourcing a lot of that because it was more cost efficient and a lot of changes. So we moved from this building that we had for a long time that was huge to a temporary location where we were in cubicles. So like the whole team, except for like 2 people who often have to have confidential conversations, they had like their own actual office. The rest of us were in a cube farm. Everybody. And I'm telling you, being able to just put somebody on mute if you're talking to a client, to like put your phone on mute, so like not put them on hold, literally hit the mute button and stand up and be like, hey, person, remind me again, when does this come out? And for them to be like, oh yeah, it comes out in 2 weeks. You can let them know. Well, there's a slight delay. Sorry about that. And you sit down and you go back to work. Like, and now that we have actual offices, I have to just wing it. Like, I can't put them on hold or anything like that because I have to go down the office and like knock on their door and then be like, "Hey, sorry to bother you," you know?
So that was your temporary location that had the cubes. So the new one, it's just offices now.
Yeah, it's actual offices. I mean, and there's don't get me wrong. There's perks to having the offices too. If you're talking to a client that's hard of hearing and you have to talk really loud, you can shut your door and just talk as loud as you need to. But anyway, I just little plug there for cube farms. If you're in a cube farm,
it's not all bad.
It doesn't have to be bad. Where you're working probably sucks, but it doesn't have to.
Right. Yeah. What I'll say about cube life. So working at this place where Josh and I work together, I'll say it wasn't my favorite job.
For sure.
By any stretch. I did enjoy it because I got to work with my friend Josh.
Always a plus.
Yes. Always a pleasure. Speaking of that, being in it was a call center. You get nailed for saying too much.
Oh, I remember those days.
You need to cut your ums down. You say a lot. Our coaching sessions. Anyway, it's unavoidable. It's just inevitable at this point. So we're down in the basement, listeners, and I heard something at the top of the stairs, and so I leaned back and I'm like, so I saw something up there. And at first I was like, is that Wanda? She was just kind of like standing, and they were just standing there. I'm like, that's kind of creepy. Like, what's she doing? And then I'm like, oh, it's Eric. Never mind. He just wants me to.
Thankfully, it was not Milton here to burn the building down.
Cake. Any cake? Pass. Just pass, Milton. Sorry, I'm not implying that my child's creepy. It's just, you hear that noise, and I'm like, what is that? Anyway, so what was I saying? I was saying about cube life. Talking about cube life, and I was chastising myself for saying too much, but again, it's inevitable.
Yeah, teaching yourself to not say I think that prepared me. Part of what I do now is I read in our recording studio at work sometimes, and like teaching yourself to not say and I do say it a bit more than I know that I should, or I'll say like a lot, but learning how to like weed those out of your conversation when you're on the phone, because you're going to get like in trouble for it, actually makes my audio really easy to edit, because even though it doesn't sound like it, my audio, if you look at it on the waveform, is actually somewhat clipped. So when I first started reading, my boss was like, even if you were a terrible reader, I think I'd have you come in here because this is going to be real easy to edit. And I was like, I'm happy nice. I can help. Yeah, just
it's that filler when you don't quite know what to say, and you're buying time by saying yeah. Anyway, so cube life. Like I said before, I would definitely not say this job was my favorite by any stretch, but I do think that when we moved over to that new place, it was I think there's a little bit more of camaraderie, a little bit.
It can be.
Than there was when we had those bigger cubes, but I think that could also be chalked up to I had been there. Obviously, I had been there longer, by that time than when I had, in the other area. And yeah, it was, whatever. It was call center, scripts, things you could say, things you couldn't say. You were, had to be efficient and all that, whatever. Not great. Call center jobs, it's hard. It's hard to find a good one, I'm sure.
It is. And so I can see why, after working in a call center, I can see why you would want to make a show about that kind of office situation and be like, and just ratchet up all the characters into caricatures and kind of let the humor ensue, because it is, The Office is a reasonably relatable show. You watch it and you're like, oh yeah, I know a guy who did that kind of stuff. I knew the Milton, I knew the Pam in my office, and
Jim, Toby,
the Creed, who you don't understand how they maintain their job because they don't do anything.
See, he's the wily veteran. He knows how to, how to game the system.
Yeah.
I mean, Stanley was an old timer too.
So he was competent though. Like he did his job.
Yeah.
Because he was
Creed. So Creed didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And they would test him sometimes to figure out like if he had clues to what was going on. Can't remember some of the stuff. Oh, they made. So one of the characters, Ryan, showed Creed how to quote make his own blog. And Ryan was like, I was so scared of what he was going to put on the internet that I just made a Word file for him to like type into and told him that was the blog. Or something like that. I was like, ooh. And he never knew the difference. He just, it was like, I don't know. He was like, oh yeah, just go to www.creedthoughts.com/creedthoughts or something like that. And
so what, would he give it to Ryan and then Ryan would like post it online? No,
he didn't post it at all.
Okay.
And Ryan was like, it's terrifying. We're not sharing that with the world.
So speaking of Ryan, he was like the guy that was kind of like you kind of rooted for him a little bit initially, and then later on in the show, like he comes back, like he leaves and then he comes back and he's like the enemy of everyone or something.
Kind of, yeah.
See, that's where like I didn't watch it during that part, I guess, that stretch.
Yeah, his on again, off again relationship with Mindy. I can't remember what her name is.
Oh, Mindy Kaling. It's her character's name. That's my cat. That's my cat, Kitty. You might hear.
Kitty, do you have some thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Kelly. That's her name.
Kelly.
Yeah. There's Kelly. Gosh, who was the other one that left? I
always felt like the turnover rate was not quite. I mean, you kind of got to do that for a show like that.
Well, yeah, because you want to maintain, have a core. People like having the same characters. You don't want to have like a, whatever, like Big Brother or something where it's changing every season. Or,
right.
I guess if you have anthology shows, like, well, even those have some of the same actors. They're just different characters.
Yeah. So Jim did leave. Like, he went to go work in another branch. And like it was weird because the corporate culture there was completely different. Like everybody stayed late, but it was to like play video games and stuff. And then, that was one of my other favorite pranks. Is Jim stole a bunch of Dwight's letterhead when he left, and so he would fax Dwight his own letterhead with like with notes like "Don't drink the coffee this morning; it's poison" or something. So Dwight goes around and like slaps coffee with his hands. It's like he's faxing Dwight as though he was future Dwight. Messaging himself. I was like, that would be a great inter-office prank. In my mind.
Josh, I don't know. Maybe we should watch the show, and then subsequent episodes of the Open Eclectic, we could just have our little like office moment where we're like, okay, so this is what we watched. This is, I don't know. I don't know if the emotional trauma going to be worth it.
Yeah, I don't know if I hate myself that much. And it's weird because there's other shows where that they're caricatures of people, which a lot of shows are. I think most shows really are. They double down on what makes that character what they are, and they run with that in various scenarios. And people typically aren't like that too much, and that's fine. Like Friends. Like we're going through Friends. We bought the complete set. We're into episode season 2.5 or so. And
wow, that's like uber 90s.
Yeah, the first couple episodes, what they're wearing is just amazing. They've got like the really like the dudes are wearing really puffy jackets, for their suits, and they've got
the
like,
sleeves rolled up
and stuff like that, and they just. It's something, man. It's a peek into another time, a simpler time, the time before COVID.
Yeah. So we're talking about The Office and like cringy moments. So there's another show that, from what I can recall, there was really only one like really cringy moment in that entire show. The show I'm talking about is Breaking Bad. Have you seen that? Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I have seen almost all of it. So I was binging it real hard.
Why haven't you finished it?
So it's a pretty dark show.
Yes, very dark.
When you first start watching it, I thought, okay, there's gonna be moments where they like lighten it, and then, spoiler alert, when Bryan Cranston's character, who later becomes like Heisenberg, the drug dealer, he like kills a guy for the first time. Like any sort of illusionment was broken for me right there. I was like, oh, this is how it's gonna be. I see. This is okay. And so I kept watching it, and I've got to be like 5 episodes or less from finishing the show. But I watched so much of it that I was just like, I can't do it. It's too much. It's too.
So you're in the last season.
Yeah.
Have you made it to like the halftime or halfway point of the half point of the last season? Because they split it into 2 chunks.
I think so.
I guess if you're binging it, you probably can't tell.
Yeah, it was pretty tough to tell, but I like it, and I'm gonna finish it someday. I promise. I just haven't.
You should. I've watched through that series twice.
Really?
Yes.
I'm impressed. So what's your cringe moment from that show?
That cringe moment, I'm sure you'll probably remember when I tell you, and I'm sure anybody who's seen it like on Reddit or wherever they talk about it, like they know what you're talking about. It's the birthday scene, happy birthday. When Skylar sings happy birthday, like Marilyn Monroe style, to JFK, she sings to Ted.
Happy birthday,
yeah.
Mr. President. And it was in that moment I knew that they were gonna shag.
Yep.
Like there's a line from that show. We'll try and avoid an explicit rating for this podcast, but you know what I mean. And like, yeah.
I can't remember if there was a history. There wasn't a sexual history between them, because she had worked for him before.
Right.
They just liked each other. Right. She's like, I like you. They were amicable or whatever, and friendly. They were like
cozy colleagues kind of a thing. Or
so then she comes back.
Work wife, if you want to go that route.
Yeah. So that scene is just like, it's so like. So I talked about like Reddit, like, you follow a subreddit for a show, even the show's over, then so you're bound to like see stuff repeat eventually on there. Yeah. But
that's got to come up a lot.
Yeah. So people will just be like, yeah, I don't even watch that. I just like skip it completely. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's kind of interesting thinking about how some of the mindset has changed. I wonder if that show was made today, if they would leave that out, because I got the impression that Ted, who's the guy she's singing to,
he's like the owner. He's the main guy who like runs the company. It's his company.
He wanted to hook up with her before, and so his hiring her was like a predatory thing almost, where he was like, I don't know. Looking back at how he layered that up, it was like, I think that, I don't know, constitutes some predatory behavior.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's using his position, as as the owner, or because it was his company. It's his company,
right?
So he runs the company. So he makes like the hiring and firing decisions.
Yeah.
But it's like, so he saw that I can't remember exactly how it came up, but like, Walter's sick. So Skylar's like, I need to help the family too, and make some more money.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back to work, get my job back, working for Ted.
Yeah. Because it was a good job. Like it was. Yeah. It was a good job. She was doing the accounting there.
Yeah.
And working with the books and numbers and.
So it's like, so he remembers her obviously, and is like, oh yeah, Skylar.
That's right.
So he sees her in her like moment of need, and so he's.
Yeah, he definitely takes advantage of it. I think what makes it even worse, though, is that she's pregnant. At that point, she's like 7 to 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, she's very pregnant when that was very early.
Yeah, it was such a weird. You're right. That was I wasn't sure I was gonna make it through that. And
that show has plenty of very uncomfortable moments as well.
Yeah, and I can deal with uncomfortable. That was cringe, though.
The birthday
thing. That
yes,
was a cringy
and
moment.
I mean, it's obviously they put it in there on purpose.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's just, well, and like all the other employees are like kind of weirded out by it too.
Right.
And is it Ted that asked her to do it?
Yeah.
He requested it because they were having that party.
It sounded like she did an impression years ago, kind of.
That's it.
And so he was like, "Hey, come on,
do it again, Skylar.
Do it for me, Skylar. Dance." And or something. That's how it comes across. But it's like at his company birthday party.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, I'll do
it's
it."
like, fine, I'll do it, Ted.
Yeah. That show has a lot of layers that builds up, and there's a lot of build up and payoff. Just from a cinematic storytelling point.
I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, it's a brilliant show. You know, Vince Gilligan, he used to be a writer for The X-Files.
That's right.
There was an episode that he wrote that Bryan Cranston was in. And I think, and if you read, I think that's kind of like where, I think that helped, get Cranston on to Breaking Bad, because other than that X-Files episode, I mean, what did people know him for? And I mean, it was a guest appearance on one episode of the X-Files, so it's like,
right.
It wasn't a lot of exposure.
It was in the early days.
Yeah, people knew him as Hal from Malcolm in the Middle.
Not at that point. I think you're the X-Files expert, so I'll take your word for it. But I think his appearance on the X-Files was pre Malcolm in the Middle.
It was. Let's see, it was like season 8, I want to say. So that would have been like, I can't remember for sure. Like 2000, 2001-ish. No. 99? Late 90s.
Yeah. Bryan Cranston was also on an episode of Murder, She Wrote. And he was an
also in How I Met Your Mother.
In Power Rangers, the American Port. He was one of the monsters. So he got into a suit. It's like a hilarious story that he tells on, I don't know, Colbert or someone.
Did he reprise that role in
the movie?
The movie?
I don't think so.
No? I have no idea. I never watched Power Rangers.
I did a little bit. It was a little too. That is another cringy show, and I thought it was cringy as a kid. And then later learning about why it was so cringy, I'm like, oh, you know what? I can forgive them. I can forgive them a little bit. They told the actors, just wave your arms around. There's no combat training. They're just like flail around and look cool, and they're like, okay. And that's why all of their ninja moves or whatever looks stupid. It's because it is.
They're just like, just jump around. Yeah. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bryan Cranston was in that X-Files episode called Drive. November 15, 1998. Malcolm in the Middle, first episode, January 9, 2000.
2000? Okay.
So it was 2 years before.
Yeah. So he was making his bones in the industry.
Okay, so I think what I was driving at is that people probably didn't see him as being in that Breaking Bad role because they knew him from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
So he's just this goofy dad, lovable dad thing guy, and
I think his work in Malcolm in the Middle helped him in Breaking Bad, though, because in the beginning of Breaking Bad, he's this kind of beaten down chemistry teacher who's just trying to focus on his family and take care of him, and he's got a son who's got cerebral palsy.
I think so.
Right? Or something? So
that's RJ Mitty. He
uses arm crutches to walk.
Yeah, cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy? Yep. Okay, yeah. And the actor has palsy in real life.
He actually has it, but it's not he portrayed it as it was worse in the show, sure. I think.
But yeah, that was probably a smart move for them. But yeah, and then he turns dark. He didn't start selling meth for the fun of it.
No.
Cooking. We have to cook. Yeah, that shows cook off the rails. That shows a great example in storytelling of what's that? It's like a cause and effect tool in storytelling where you don't want to just say and then he and then he and then he. You want to have your story be like, there's a short story called To Build a Fire, where this man builds a fire, but because he built it under a tree that was laden with snow, the snow fell out of the tree because it heated up and put his fire out. And so, like, there's a lot of moments like that in Breaking Bad where he goes to do something, and because he did it, there's a consequence that he then has to deal with, which creates, like, another consequence that he has to deal with. And so, like, just narratively, it's very brilliant. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so well done. It's a great show. I mean, shoot, I may watch it, go through it again. It's been a couple years. So you're close to being done with it.
Yes.
So you should also, when you're finished with it, you should watch the Netflix, or the movie they released on Netflix called El Camino.
I guess like a follow-up to the show,
so basically
right?
it's follow-up with Jesse.
Mr. Pinkman?
Mr. Pinkman. I guess that's not a spoiler. I haven't revealed anything.
No, I think it was known.
Yeah.
It's a bummer because I think where I'm at in the show, it leads you to believe that Pinkman might die soon. There's definitely some like touch and go moments where you're like, and I read that he was gonna be killed off early in the show.
Yes. So yeah, he was.
Him.
Yeah, they had written him initially to be killed off, but then they're like, man, he's so good, and he gets on with Bryan Cranston so well that you got to keep this guy on.
So have you seen the? I think it was an SNL sketch of where Bryan Cranston is on, and he wakes up and he like reprises his role from Malcolm in the Middle, and he's like, "Honey, I had this terrible dream where like I had cancer, and there was this kid who was like, yeah, science B and meth B, and I was a drug dealer, and I did all these things. I can't believe what a nightmare that was." I was like that.
Yes, I don't know. I think it was like, I want to say it might have been like something they did as an extra for for Breaking Bad,
yeah, okay.
Like, they're like, wouldn't it be funny if we tied it into Malcolm in the Middle and it was all a dream?
If Breaking Bad ended with that, I would be happy. Like that would have been the most, I don't know, the biggest troll ever. Because shows struggle to end. Like,
right, they stretch them out for too long, and oh man,
that would have been just like a killer ending.
It was just a dream of how.
What?
Oh man, that would piss me off, but it would be hilarious.
I don't know. I can't decide if I would be mad. I'll have to wait and see how the show ends, and then decide like, would I be mad if that's how it ended, or no?
So speaking of Malcolm in the Middle, it's kind of tragic. The main character, Malcolm,
Frankie
Muniz has he's got like this really bad
TBI, right? Traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, so like his memory, like I think he says he can't remember any of his experience with Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, no,
like he doesn't remember any of it. Like the dude just like it's just gone.
Yeah, that's
holy
crazy.
crap. And I'm like, I remember reading a little bit about it or hearing about it, but I don't know like what caused it.
I don't remember
or what
either.
it was. It was just, I guess it's just traumatic brain injury. But
speaking of mean jump scare shows, though, Frankie Muniz was punked by the man himself, Ashton Kutcher.
He was?
Yeah, where like Frankie Muniz had this car that was like his baby. Like that was his extravagant thing that he bought. And it was like really rare, and there was only a handful of them in the world or something. And so Ashton Kutcher had like a replica made, and then had it towed or had like a truck slam into it. And so Frankie thought that his car was total and he just went ballistic. And then Ashton popped out and was like, "Yeah, punk you."
That's not your real car.
Yeah, I was just like, Frankie did not appreciate it either. Like some of the celebrities were like, "Oh yeah, you got me," and he was like, "Yeah, I wasn't cool, man."
So he wasn't happy about it.
No, he was not.
Trying to find like.
Are we sure he's not just doing research for a role?
Apparently, he was into racing.
That checks out.
Like, he had a transient ischemic attack in 2012. A mini stroke. That's what that is. Second attack in 2013. He was on Dancing with the Stars.
That's right. He was on Dancing with
He
the Stars.
suffered significant amnesia, theorized to be caused, at least partially, by multiple concussions. He revealed he could not remember the majority of his time on Malcolm in the Middle, and that his former co-star Bryan Cranston often called him to remind him about the good times they had.
No.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Cranston's a nice guy. From
Yeah,
what I hear.
Yeah.
I
I like to think of him as a nice guy who might secretly be selling meth.
He's actually a Heisenberg.
I don't know, man. He did such a good job.
Yeah, he's...
just all of it, yeah. It was so good.
Yeah, so you're so close.
I know.
You just need to finish it.
I know, man.
Then we could really talk about it. So are you... So
right.
you got to be in the last season.
I'm pretty sure.
Have you encountered the skinhead... Well, I don't know if they're skinheads. The Nazis. The Nazi guys.
Are they the ones
Uncle
that, like,
Jack or whatever?
trap him in like a trailer that's buried?
Trap Jesse?
Or
Or
somebody.
I
don't know.
think so.
I'll probably have to watch
Like they... Yeah, that's where he...
I have to figure out where
I think that's where he comes up with the Heisenberg name, isn't it?
the couple. No, he came up with Heisenberg. Like in the first season when he goes to meet with the first buyer guy who turns out to be crazy.
Oh,
It's
yeah, yeah.
Heisenberg because it's the name of it's like a brand of a beaker, and so he was trying to come up with like a good alias, and so he was like a Heisenberg.
Tuco was the guy, right?
Yeah,
Tuco Salamanca.
yeah,
Who's this Heisenberg
yeah.
guy? Well, so he first meets the Nazis, or Uncle Jack, and have you met Todd?
I think I have met
Have you met Crazy Todd?
the neo-Nazis, because there's a scene where that I have like real vivid, where two of the guys are like arguing in a bathroom and talking about like, anytime I see a kid riding around with a bike helmet, I just want to whip my belt off and beat the out of that kid. Can't be how stupid they are, and like, just, I don't know, it's like a weird conversation where you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I see what they're doing. They're really setting up these characters to be of a certain mindset. So yes, I believe I have met the neo-Nazis.
Have you met Todd?
I almost feel like calling them Nazis is an insult to Nazis, though. And I don't know. Yes.
Neo-Nazis, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Meth Damon?
Yes, Meth Damon. Meth Damon.
Because he does have a strange resemblance to Matt Damon.
Yeah, like, when I first saw him, I was like, maybe they're related. Are they cousins? Maybe?
I don't think they're related.
We are of no relation.
We're no relation. Yeah. He is a character. Like he's a very interesting character. In the show Breaking Bad, you see more of him in the movie El Camino.
Okay, all right. Well, something to look forward to then. Yeah,
he's an interesting guy. There's so many good characters in that show.
Yeah, Los Polos Humanos. Yeah.
Chicken.
Could go for some chicken right now.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, Breaking Bad, great show.
I think, kind of going back to what started that about the cringe scene. I think
that was our beginning.
I think that's like a great example of cringe being used with intention, because it really, at first you thought Ted was maybe this kind of, I don't know, lovable guy in a way. Maybe he made some poor choices with his company, and Skyler's going to help him, and it was going to be like a pure kind of thing, but then it was like, no. He hired you because he wanted to bang you.
And he gets an accountant out of it too. So
yeah. So I really think that was just... I
mean, come on. Ted's house had heated floors in the bathroom.
That would be so nice.
I mean, that was... So I remember Skyler being like, there's heated floors in the bathroom. Oh my God.
So the way around that, actually, is I was in a house years ago, and the guy, the owner, built the house, and he designed a lot of the stuff. And so he actually had the vents for the kitchen, because a lot of floor vents point upward, right? And so he had his built at an angle, so they came out underneath the cabinets and blew across the floor. So it gave you like a heated floor effect. without actually having to have heated floors. Anyway, so
there you go.
I've always thought that was a smart idea.
That's neat.
But yeah, I think Breaking Bad's a great example. They use cringe with effect and for the purpose of storytelling. But The Office, man, they just want to be cringy.
Also, yeah, there's no overarching reason, or there's no point to it being cringy other than just for it to be cringe. There's some people that like it. Obviously, there's millions of people that love The Office and other shows that also, capitalize on that cringy kind of like gotcha stuff, like that hidden camera stuff we talked about, or anytime one of those shows comes on, I'm just like, I'm kind of like watching it with like one foot out the door, because I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this,
and then I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just
like, no,
nope, don't need that.
Let's see. So, have you said all you wanted to say about The Office?
I think I should be done. I don't want to and it's just one of those things where, like the dude says, that's just like your opinion, man. And it is. It's just my opinion. I know I have friends who love The Office.
That's okay.
I watch the clips. I think some of the pranks are very well done and ingenious without being unrealistic. But
so
can't
like
watch it.
It could be one of those shows where like you would just look up like a YouTube compilation of all the pranks.
I've done that.
Okay, and you would love that, but it's like you're not going to sit down and watch the show because it's too cringy.
Yep.
Like, are there other shows where you've done that? Where you like you'll watch YouTube, like you would watch compilations of clips, but you wouldn't actually watch the show?
Not that I can think of right now. I guess once in a while I do enjoy like a Family Guy gag. But I will never like sit down and watch an episode again. I watch
put that in there too. I mean, you can put Family Guy in that group.
It's
because there are funny. I mean, but Family Guy's all like cutaway gags like that, and there's just so watching clips of it. You're basically watching episodes of the show anyway.
Yeah. Well, like we had a friend in college who described it. That's where I took it away from. I want to say it was. We're gonna give credit to Glenn, anyways.
That's who I was thinking, because Glenn was a very big Family Guy fan. Yeah. Maybe he still is, I don't know.
But he didn't like the modern episodes at that point, because he was like, it's 30 minutes of crap for one half-hearted laugh. And I kind of agree. I think a lot of it is just, And then but I don't think I would YouTube clips of it, because a lot of them I just don't like.
Yeah. True.
I get it. They're kind of, on the one hand, it's admirable to be like, we're going to offend everybody, and if you're not offended, we'll get to you eventually. So, like, okay, cool. Seth MacFarlane, that's kind of a genius approach. Sure. But I don't know that I feel compelled to watch it.
I used to watch Family Guy. I enjoyed watching the episodes. But I quit watching it, like, gosh, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
More
for me,
because it was like I had been watching it like fairly regularly, and I would watch the reruns, and I'd be like, yeah, I like the show, and then, but yeah, it just got to be where it just wasn't as funny anymore. I'm just like,
yeah.
I do greatly enjoy American Dad, though.
Oh yeah,
same guy,
right? Seth MacFarlane.
Yep, old Seth.
So he's a guy who's like, yeah, it's like a whole show. He's amazingly talented.
Yeah, he's voices. He's a great like voice actor.
Yeah,
like,
and he can sing.
And he sings. Yeah, he sings.
Dance. He can act when he wants to.
He's done some movies.
Yeah,
I haven't seen either of the Teds.
I
hear
they're
funny
either. Yeah,
I haven't seen his Western, which I heard got kind of
Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah, was kind of hammered as not very good.
Probably not, but I don't think it set out to be either.
He hosted the Oscars one time.
Yes, that was not bad.
Did you watch that whole?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I do an Oscar party usually.
Yeah, I was gonna say you used to do that.
Right. I didn't this year or
last year.
Actually, it feels like it's been forever because it's been like 3 years for various reasons where I wasn't able to do it. But yeah, we do like you mark off who you think's gonna win, and then you get like a second choice in my house, and I give out trophies, and it's a thing.
I think I watched most of that show that he did, the one that he hosted.
Yeah.
And I felt like he did pretty good. Like some of the jokes he made didn't land, but
true.
He did.
True.
Gosh, that's been a long time now too, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Since he hosted.
It's weird because hosting the Oscars is such a chore to be able to do it well. That
because it's like they always seem to like, or they want to get like real edgy people to host it, but it's
kind
like
of.
I guess did Ricky Gervais host it once?
No.
Was it Emmys?
So.
He hosted
Emmys,
something.
Maybe.
He hosted something, and then he basically just like straight up is just like, I'm just going to offend people, so you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's kind of his hallmark.
That's his shtick.
Yeah. Old Steph. He's a talented guy.
I liked Family Guy for a while, and I quit watching it. American Dad, I was kind of powering through. I had watched almost every episode, I think. But it's like it just keeps going. Like Family Guy and American Dad were just the longevity.
Well, Family Guy was canceled, right? And then it was
canceled. Like they even joke about it in the show. Like it was
Fox
canceled.
Can't cancel us.
It was canceled like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and the fans keep that was great. And the fans keep bringing it back. Like that's man.
I remember that it premiered.
Fans, why can't we bring back Quantum Leap?
Scott Bakula, if you're listening to this show, please, somehow, if you need us to be on the show on staff, just say the word. We'll fly out to Hollywood. Yeah. I know you're busy with NCIS, I think.
SAG minimum. That's us.
Yeah.
No per diem.
What show does he work on now?
He
NCIS
was
NCIS New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah. And then he was... I felt like there was something else he did too. I don't know. Whole scat.
I remember Family Guy debuted after the Super Bowl in like 1997 or something. Like it was...
Yeah.
And like the whole... Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, and they were canceled like at least a couple times.
Yeah, at least.
So...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. What about you? Is there a show that you don't that you're like I don't watch the show, but I'll watch clips of it?
See, I was thinking about that when I was asking you that question, and because you hear about some people and they're like, oh yeah, my friend sent me, or I don't know, people post online like my friend sent me clips to these shows and all the time, but I never actually watched the show. I don't think so. I'm trying to think of like. I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have that many friends that send me clips to random clips to shows, or.
I try not to. I think if I recommend a show, then I'll recommend the show, and I don't
instead of just like spoon feeding like little clips of it.
The one exception is the Newsroom, because the clip that I saw that got me hooked on the show, I sent that to some people, and I was like, if you like this clip and like kind of the way that it sets up the show, you'd enjoy the show, and it's really good. And if you don't or don't find it compelling enough, then I was like, then don't bother.
I have not seen Newsroom.
I will send you a clip.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
It's Jeff
Yeah.
Daniels.
I don't think. Yeah, that's like Aaron Sorkin, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a show where I can watch clips. I guess you maybe say The Office also, but I actually haven't watched a lot of Office clips either. So
yeah,
just not like if it's like I'm either gonna watch the show or I'm just not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna like watch little teeny parts of it and then not watch the show. I'm just if I like the clips, I'll probably just end up watching the show. Well, We've been going for an hour and 23 minutes. We got a lot of good content out of that first bullet point.
Boom.
Josh hates The Office.
Josh hates The Office. Makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. And I think my Facebook post said something like, the world would be a better place if they canceled the show after the first 2 episodes.
Now, did you get any backlash on that?
Oh, yeah. I get like frowny faces on Facebook and stuff. People are like, oh, but I like it.
But I love the show.
And I'm like, I don't care.
So
that's fine.
What is it that people...
You can hate stuff I like.
What is it... I mean, is it just that everybody who loves this show, they like the cringe? Or is it in spite of the cringe?
I don't know.
Is a lot of like women that like The Office?
I don't know.
What's the demographics of people who like The Office?
I don't know.
I saw something on, again, my entire cultural knowledge comes from Reddit, and that's probably bad. I mean, Reddit's cool. It's not everything, because you subscribe to things that you like on there, so you're maybe not getting a complete picture of stuff. There's one subreddit called like starter packs. Have you been on that?
No.
Where they it's basically just like it's like a white background, and then they like Photoshop, like they put like images that like I forget what the starter pack was, but one of the little images and little like captions they had on it was like liking The Office is a personality trait or something like that.
I think that's probably true.
Or they think that liking The Office is a personality trait.
Yeah. I think that could really be true. I can see that. That makes sense to me.
Like, oh, okay, so you like The Office, but yeah, I'm just, I like The Office. Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
I
don't know. What do you guys think? You like The Office? You don't like The Office? If you do like The Office, tell me why. I just, maybe it's one of those things that you could, like, you're not going to convince me to like it, but I could appreciate it more from a bystander's perspective, because I literally don't understand it.
So you and me are basically on the same page.
Yeah.
Where the cringe really makes us uncomfortable, and we can't, like, I didn't finish the show.
Yeah.
I only watched like maybe 3 or 4 seasons. Like, I made it that far.
It hurts us.
I think it was like 8 seasons or something that it went on for.
Yeah.
And I stopped, and I really haven't had any strong interest to go back to it.
Parks and Rec. That's the other show. I tried to watch that. It's too cringy. I can't do it. It's terrible, but I do like watching snippets from the show.
Oh. So that show, people tell me that the first season is really, or something is hard to get through, but then after that it's awesome, they say.
Yeah, they like kind of self-rebooted or something, and so we were like, it was really recommended hard by somebody that my wife and I both were like, okay, you know what? Let's check it out. We have no interest in this show. Let's check it out. And so we did, and we were like, no, this is terrible. And they're like, okay, skip the first season or whatever. And so we did. And I was like, this is terrible. I don't like it.
So you went to the point where they're like, okay, it gets better here.
Yeah.
And you're still
like... to it. No. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I see people told me the same thing. They're like, oh, you just got to give it a chance. You got to keep going, and it gets better.
I like all the actors in it, though, too. Like, I like Ron Swanson and Amy Poehler and Chris Pratt and Aubrey Plaza. I love them all.
Isn't...
I hate what they do in that show. Can't do it.
What's his name? Rob Lowe?
Yeah, Rob Lowe's in it too. So I like the snippets where Rob and Ron face off with, like, because Rob is like a vegan in the show, and so he's like, I made you this holistic vegan patty burger. And Ron is like, it's a burger and a bun, no condiments, and it's the most blah blah blah, blah or whatever. And I just like those, their feud is hilarious.
Yeah, see, there's a few clips from that show that I've seen where I'm like, this is really great, and I started watching the show, and I think I barely made it. I think I made it through the first episode, like the pilot, and I was just like, no.
Same.
I just couldn't do it. I was like, what? This is not funny at all.
Same. I think we watched the first 2 seasons of the first 2 episodes of the first season, and then we jumped ahead to wherever it was, and I was like, I can't tell the difference. To quote an Office meme, it's the same picture. And I was just like, nope. Like both of us, we looked at each other.
So is it the same vibe as The Office? Like
yes, I think it is.
Cringy stuff,
but with fewer pranks, so there's not enough to like hold me in.
So another show that's recommended, and I haven't seen any of it. Community.
So the same people who really like The Office seem like they really like Community, so I won't watch it. Oh, also, I did start. I'm on the fence on this one. Watched the first couple of episodes of Schitt's Creek because I love Eugene Levy. Even though a lot of his stuff is a little on the cringy side, he's just, I don't know what, he's Eugene Levy. But even that show, I'm just like, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't Portlandia kind of like that too? You seen any of that?
Haven't seen any of that one.
Fred Armisen and somebody else. I can't remember who it's him and
just the ads for that one look uncomfortable to me, so I can't do it.
Yeah, I think it's what is it? What is the people with this cringy stuff? So you said Eugene Levy. That got me thinking about, and also Catherine not Keener. Catherine
the mom from Home Alone.
Yeah. Not Keener.
And from
Catherine Keener was in 40-Year-Old Virgin with Steve Carell.
Catherine Keener? Catherine Heigl?
No. Catherine Keener.
Who was she?
She was his girlfriend. The one who took his...
Yes. Okay. I'm with you now.
That is not who is in Schitt's Creek.
Nope.
That is not the Home Alone mom.
Nope. Sure not. It is Catherine something, though.
Home Alone. Sorry, you hear me typing.
I want to say it's Catherine with a K.
Yes, it's not Catherine with a C.
Right.
Like Catherine King. It's Catherine O'Hara.
O'Hara.
It is with a C. So that got me thinking about the Christopher Guest movies. I don't know if you've seen those.
I've seen
Best in Show.
What's the one with they're waiting for Guffman?
Waiting for Guffman. What's the old one? Is Spinal Tap.
This is Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those
are like precursors.
Yeah, like those have that kind of awkward, they have that awkward, cringy kind of like, these characters are unaware of how like stupid, or just weird they are, and it's funny. And I like those movies. Yeah.
I remember liking Waiting for Guffman, but I've never been compelled to go back and watch it again.
I watched those back like I think like in high school and college, because there was A Mighty Wind was another one that came out.
Yeah.
And I remember liking those, but I don't like The Office. Like it's too cringy for me.
I think Cringe is gonna get a follow-up episode, I think.
Okay. Maybe we should fully expose it. So the stuff we're talking about here, maybe we should pick a couple pieces or a couple maybe a movie, and the movies would be easier because you can watch those.
Yeah, let's go with movie. That's less commitment.
Yeah, or maybe I don't know, a couple episodes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe we should revisit those Christopher Guest movies.
We should do a Christopher Guest movie, and honestly, Napoleon Dynamite.
I have no problems with Napoleon Dynamite
because that movie should
Napoleon
be cringy, but isn't.
You like it, right?
I love it.
You like it, right? Okay. Napoleon Dynamite. One of my all-time favorite movies.
But yeah, I think we should maybe compare and kind of hold that up against one of the Christopher Guest movies you pick, since I've only seen the one. I'll watch any of them.
Look them up.
And then maybe I don't know. We'll look up the best Office episode as voted by Reddit or something, and we'll just do a little comparison rundown.
Okay, so there's
part 2 coming soon.
This is Spinal Tap, obviously.
That's the big one.
Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, For Your Consideration. We could just say, oh, well, let's do The Princess Bride.
Is that a Christopher Guest movie?
See, I was thinking he was in, Men in Tights, but Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I mean, he's in The Princess Bride, but it's not a Christopher Guest movie.
No, it's not. Is he the main villain in Princess Bride?
One of them. Yeah.
I keep thinking he's
not
Count,
Humperdinck. He's the man. He's a six-fingered man.
Count Rugen.
Rugen, yeah.
But was he
This is for science, so please be as honest as possible. Interesting. The Open Eclectic Cringe episode 2.
Yeah.
Coming maybe in a month.
There's a bunch of those Christopher Guest movies I haven't seen, like Mascots.
I don't know. Yeah.
The return. There was a return of Spinal Tap, 1992.
That's right. Yeah. Christopher Guest, and then Napoleon Dynamite, and then maybe like whatever's considered the best episode of The Office and or Parks and Rec.
Did you know that Christopher Guest is married to Jamie Lee Curtis?
You're kidding.
No. Speaking of Jamie Lee Curtis, there's a new Halloween movie.
Somehow that tracks though.
You're not a big horror guy though.
Nah.
I haven't seen any of the Halloween movies. I saw a trailer for the new Halloween movie that's coming out because of it came on during the NBA Finals.
Oh.
That's a nice prime time.
I have listened to the film Reroll's take on Halloween. I don't know if that counts. It's a great podcast, Film Reroll. We talked about it before.
I really need to watch that or listen to that.
Yeah.
So we got Best in Show, Mighty Wind, for your consideration. Because I want to find the movies that are like the ones he directs.
Final thoughts on The Office? Anything redeeming for you?
Well, I think we already talked about it, like the Heart of Gold, I guess, Michael Scott. I suppose that's probably a big part of why people like it. I guess the kind of touching moments between the characters, the Pam and Jim relationship, Dwight and what's her butt? That's not her name.
Could be her name.
Angela.
Yeah.
Because they're both kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and then like Dwight is just this. Dwight is a really interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
He's weird, and he's very awkward, and he's
yeah. He kind of epitomizes the people who grew up like hyper conservative, or like strictly like the stereotypical awkward homeschooler, which isn't fair because most of the homeschoolers I know are very suave. I would even say.
But but you're right. The stereotype of a homeschool person.
Yeah.
Because he like grew up on like a beet farm with his brother.
Beets, bears, Battlestar Galactica.
I always remember like one of the cutaways one of the interviews where they're doing where they interview the people, and, like where they're talking directly to the camera. Like Dwight's like talking about how their last name is pronounced like it used to be pronounced like Shroog or something like that, or because it's Shroot, right? But I don't know why I remember that, but it's like it's from that episode, an episode where they go to the beet farm and like you meet his brother, I think.
Oh yeah,
and they're talking about that. Also, Dwight drives a Firebird, like an old like Trans Am.
Does he?
Like an 80s one.
Yeah, you're right.
Michael drives a PT Cruiser.
Sometimes he's got. I think he goes through a couple of cars.
Yeah. So another moment I remember from the show. Again, this would be like watching clips of it, right? But I did see the episode. Is when he gets the HD TV that he's so proud of, and he mounts it on the wall.
It was the plasma. Wasn't it plasma?
It was something. It was like plasma. It was flat screen. Yeah. He mounts it on the wall, but it's only like
20 inches.
It's like
something?
super small.
But it's like on a mount that
it swings out.
Yeah,
he's so proud of it. He's so proud of it, and he's in like a condo or something, and like it's I don't know. Okay, hold on.
There really are some great
moments.
Some golden moments, but not enough to justify the show's life. And that's what I don't understand. So I just want to know.
So okay. Entertainment is this Entertainment Weekly? It says ET Online. ET Online, the definitive binge guide, the best episodes to watch. The pilot.
Really?
The Dundies. So the pilot was first episode of the first season, obviously.
I have seen the Dundies.
That's the first episode of the second season.
And that's interesting. That was kind of fun.
The Merger, season 3, episode 8. Safety Training, season 3, episode 20.
Oh, is that the one where Dwight like cuts the face off of the training dummy?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple of those where he just.
This is the episode that gives us the timeless phrase, Dwight, you ignorant slut. You can cut that out if you want to.
That's what she said.
Yeah. So Safety Training, and then The Job Part 2, which is season 3, episode 25. Fun Run Part 1 and 2, season 4, episodes 1 and 2. Boy, they got a big list here. The Dinner Party, season 4, episode 13.
The Dinner Party. I'm trying to remember if I've seen some of those.
Oh, that one might be the TV one. Is that the TV one?
Yes, that is the TV one.
Look, because that's Jan. That's Jan, because him and Jan were together.
Yeah, and they were living together, and there was
in the condo with
had like a lot of domestic disputes with the dinner party there, and nobody could leave. Yeah.
A thinly veiled attempt to secure investors in Jan's candle business.
Jan's candle business.
Weight Loss Part 2, season 5, episode 2. Stress Relief Part 1 and 2 of season 5, episode 14 and 15. Oh, no. What you're thinking of, Stress Relief Part 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. There he is.
The dummy.
With the dummy face on.
That is creepy.
It really is.
Gossip, season 6, episode 1. We can use this list as our basis.
Yeah, let's pick a couple from that top list, and we'll just let's see what we can find. I want to give. I feel like all the fans collectively. I mean, not to say that a group of people can't be wrong altogether, but I want to have more faith in people than that.
Let's see.
Maybe this is more about my personality that I dislike it so much than it does about people who like it.
I don't know.
I'm willing to accept that. I'll shoulder that responsibility. Okay. Oh yeah, they're like, oh yeah, they're doing the CPR training, and the trainer's like, okay, they've stopped breathing and you cannot seem to resuscitate them. What do you do? And Dwight whips out like a huge knife and he's like, we have to harvest the organs before they go bad. And he slices into that dummy and is like, oh, let's get the heart. And then just, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a few things. There's definitely some golden moments in that show.
Okay, so we'll pick something from that list.
Those dummies aren't cheap either.
No, sir. Okay, so this one ranks. This is from 2016. It ranks all 5 of Christopher Guest's mockumentary movies from worst to best. So the worst is For Your Consideration, 2006. That's number 5. Then Waiting for Guffman, number 4.
Oh. I'm guessing Spinal Tap will be number 1.
3, A Mighty Wind.
I don't see how it couldn't be.
2, Mascots. Now that's one I have not seen.
All right.
That came out in 2016. After a decade-long break, Guest returned. Best in Show is number 1.
Oh, Spinal Tap didn't make the list.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, well,
so,
everybody stay tuned. We're gonna review.
We're gonna do some research and review some of this.
We're gonna cringe so you don't have to.
Are there any parting thoughts on anything else we discussed this evening?
So no, not really any parting thoughts. I think I said what I said, and I stand by it. And I genuinely want to know if somebody has some reasons or what resonates with them from The Office. I want to know. I want to know. Reach out to us. Facebook, Twitter, soon to be MySpace.
Instagram.
Email us, Instagram.
Yeah, we have an email address now.
Yeah. And it's in the closer. theopeneclectic@gmail.com. Let us know. We read all the emails so far.
So thank you for listening, and we'll, like Josh said, we'll be back with our cringe episode part 2 soon. Farewell.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find The Open Eclectic on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and MySpace. Want us to ramble on about something specific or have a comment on what you just heard? Send us an email at theopeneclectic@gmail.com. We now have a Ko-Fi if you feel like supporting the show. That's ko-fi.com/theopeneclectic. Or support the show by leaving us a review. Thanks. We hope you'll join us again next time on The Open Eclectic.